Hello everyone and welcome to Good Morning Trading. My name is Benoist Rousseau. I've been trading for over 30 years and I'm a member of the CME and the Chicago CBOT. And a trader speaks to traders. This is the 6th take. I've been at it for 2.5 hours recording. I hope this one works and you'll never know if it doesn't. But if it doesn't work, I'm stopping here. I can't take it anymore. There must be a faulty cable because I'm recording. There's no sound, and yet I can see that the sound is there in my software. We'll see, so I wanted to make this a bit quicker than usual because today is a big day for me. That's all, quite simply. I hope you watched yesterday's Good Morning Trading because I told you that even if the market on Nasdaq was moving, you really had to wait. 3:30 p.m. to see whether the market would head straight north or straight south. But I hinted to you that I felt the market was going to move violently, and that everything the Japanese and Europeans decide has absolutely no value at 3:30 p.m. And that's exactly what happened. The market at 3:30 at the opening of the American markets. Excuse me, it totally and completely collapsed. It took a huge, a massive, and a very devastating hit. At the time of the Good Morning Trading, we were above, if I remember correctly, 26,100, even close to 26,200. Market opening. Huge drop, not just a hit. So I hope you already watched Good Morning Trading. It would have allowed you to be cautious and to take advantage of it. Then take advantage of it on the rebound zones, which were very, very interesting. So, what's happening? Why is there such high nervousness on the American markets? Well, that's what I told you as well. Yesterday, investors started to question the profitability of AI. And are these hundreds of billions invested really worth it? Will we get a return on investment? And I found for you in particular a comment from John Preven, who is the director of a very large hedge fund in Princeton, New Jersey. He says Microsoft has indeed disappointed. He says Microsoft minus 10% is no small thing. Minus 10%. Can you imagine? If they have 10 days like that, it's worth nothing. The stock minus 10%, then Microsoft has disappointed, and there are real concerns that investments in artificial intelligence are eating up the gains. Not for software manufacturers. And he adds that investors are looking to reduce their exposure. So everything related to artificial intelligence. So they're the ones taking the hit, but it's those who are developing who are dropping. On the other hand, we have Meta, which is going up 10% because they're using artificial intelligence. And that has increased their advertising revenue. So the investors, I quote, are looking to reduce their exposure and are playing it safe in a broader context of uncertainty, along with, above all, the identity of the future head of the Federal Reserve. So the identity of the future head of the Federal Reserve. Since you know that in May, the current head of the Federal Reserve will end his term, which is appointed by the President of the United States of America. So Donald Trump is happy to be able to get rid of him. And according to well-informed sources, which means it could be completely true or completely false, as it's a journalistic source, that Donald Trump secretly met with him at the White House. A person named Kevin Warsh, who is the former governor of the Fed institution. So, no problem, he knows the place well. What's interesting is that Kevin Warsh is considered a supporter of lowering interest rates. Incredible, that's exactly what Donald Trump wants. He has a rather reassuring profile for the markets since there are rumors about 7 or 8 people, and he's the least extreme of them all. So it could be him, it could be him. Donald Trump gets what he wants, a rapid cut in interest rates. Why? Because he wants to give a boost to the American economy, since in November 2026, so in a few months, we have the midterm elections. I'm choking with dignity. Sorry, we're at the midterm elections in the United States of America, and he wants to approach these elections, which are always tough for American presidents. To say, look, I'm the best American president in history. America is getting richer, you're getting richer, and so on, and so on, and so on. So a rapid cut in interest rates is needed to give a boost to the American economy. And I was going to say, regardless of the consequences, since the consequences are usually inflation. but that comes with a lag of 1 to 2 years, so the goal is to get re-elected. And then 2 years later, in the end, it's his successor who will have to deal with inflation, with high inflation. So it's a good candidate for Donald Trump. He reassures the markets because there are other names circulating that scare managers a little. And it will be a good compromise. I have what I want, and I reassure the markets. I don't come across as an extremist in the end, since I chose the name of the candidate who was circulating in the rumors and was the most compatible with Wall Street to keep an eye on. But what does that mean? Why am I telling you about this now? Donald Trump said he was going to announce the name of his successor today. So we'll be waiting, and when the name is revealed, things are going to move quite a bit in the United States, no matter who it is. So if it's an extremist, things could move a lot. And then, well, if it's Kevin Watch, that's the one we were more or less expecting, so we'll move on to technical analysis. Looking at the American indices, so the Nasdaq, it had the big drop we were expecting. It's trying to stabilize around 1,750. That would be the key area for it to stabilize. Right now it's already below, so we need to look at the monthly pivot, which is particularly well positioned for a rebound. As for the weekly pivot, we hit it exactly to the point and then started to rebound very sharply. Yesterday we gained more than 450 points in a straight line. It was really beautiful to watch. There's a certain beauty when you experience the order book live. It was really great. But now be careful, it looks like it wants to drop again. For now, the monthly pivot is protecting us. However, if we break through, watch out, be careful. The S&P 500, same story, same thing. Its weekly pivot allowed it to bounce back. We're below 7,000. It wasn't able to get back above 7,000. It hit a new wave of decline. So when we see this kind of movement, we drop sharply. Then we get a very strong rebound. We reach a symbolic, significant level. We recover. A slap like that means the market is still rather bearish overall. The little Dow Jones, it's at its lowest point in the last 15 days. So be careful. And just now, it has broken through its monthly middle era at 48,1800. So that's not at all a sign of strength or resilience. Let's be very, very careful. We're going in for the record. Other European downturns, the CAC 40 is not moving anymore. It's stuck between 8,000 as the low point, 8,100 as a stabilization point, and 8,150 points. So there you have it. It might end up giving us a Friday right in this zone. Here you can feel there's not much energy left, an index with a bit more energy in Europe, and one that has a rather worrying profile. That's the DAX. It's not bouncing. If it drops back down to its monthly pivot and doesn't bounce, it's going to be very, very, very complicated. It would be a bearish range breakout. And that would really be a very bad signal. And if we take a bit of a step back over 2 months, we've been dropping non-stop for the past 2 weeks. Non-stop, and it just can't manage it. It can't catch up. It's looking for a point to stabilize at the level of range breakouts. Just look at Bitcoin. I told you. I said that if it broke its middle and its monthly, it could trigger a bearish acceleration on Bitcoin. It broke its middle and monthly S1, and since then, we've seen a collapse in Bitcoin for now, which has lost more than $3,000 since the breakout. Fortunately for it, it had a monthly support. It touched it exactly and started to bounce back. So Bitcoin is actually pretty simple to trade. There's no need for convoluted theories that they might reassure you intellectually, but in practice, they're absolutely useless. Those waves of gadgets and WAPs and all that stuff. And all that, just use the monthly support levels. And when the price hits them and bounces, you buy, and look, you made a fortune on Wednesday, you made another fortune yesterday, and you made a fortune again. This morning, last night, at 2 a.m., at 2 in the morning, it hits, boom, it bounces, it hits, boom, it bounces, it hits, boom, it bounces. It's not some kind of running gag, it's just how Bitcoin works, and as you can see, it's always stuck when it can't take off, always blocked by a monthly support level. So there you go. If you don't have the monthly support and you're trading Bitcoin, I don't know, it's like driving without looking at the road. Some people gave advice, but not many actually succeeded. And so, as I mentioned to you yesterday, we had a parabolic rise, and you have to be wary of these kinds of moves, which are completely excessive. It could still go up for another day or two, but then it could collapse afterwards. And that's what happened. It collapsed just a few hours after I said it would. We lost almost 10%, 8%, 8 to 9% on gold. We went from 5,625 and now we're around 5,100, $150. We lost nearly 500, almost $500, so that's about 9%. That really hurt. But that's the classic scenario when you have a parabolic rise like that. Generally, we return to the stabilization point, middle of the monthly stabilization point since Monday. This is what I would call a very typical and highly technical move. I would say it is a standard technical move within the broader stock market. In this specific situation, we can talk about the process of taking profits, which is something that is completely normal, expected, and fully justified for investors. So I truly hope that all of this worked out well, and that I didn't have to redo this 5th or 6th take of the recording for absolutely nothing. Sending you my best, and I'll see you tomorrow because I'm not leaving you on the weekend. From now on, you'll get at least one video on Saturday and Sunday, a bit more relaxed, but still serious. That's how you relax. I'm unbuttoning my jacket. There you go, you don't see the difference, that's normal. I'll let you think about that. With that, sending you my best and see you tomorrow, Saturday. Ciao everyone.